Okay, so far we've gotten that part of the mask. Okay, let's see what we're actually missing. What I'm going to do here is just extend this, create this little piece over here as a separate piece, or maybe as one whole piece, I'm not sure yet. So let's go and create this little piece of there. I'm going to start with this mesh again. Just duplicate it, call it, we already got a temple piece, so let's go to temple, go to panel. Go to the bottom, going to grab, what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to use the same smoothing, the turbo smooth for everything. So I'm going to quickly just hide this and get rid of the turbo smooth on all of them and just apply one. So all you have to do is grab all your meshes, make sure you select all of them, add a turbo smooth, and there we go. I'm going to turn it off so I can actually easily snap all my meshes to it. Now we're going to grab these edges over here and extrude them outwards. So I'm going to go down, go to my edges, grab the ones I want, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And I'm going to use this one. I'll just shorten it. I'm going to keep all these faces. Control I to invert the selection. For every program, Control I invert selection. Now we're just going to quickly snap the ones that we actually have. As you can see, ours are not exactly snapped to this panels, and these are all paneling, so we might as well have them snapped properly. Go to your snap tool, right click, make sure it says vertex, go to the bottom, and let's just start snapping it to one. I'm going to snap it all to this top one here. That one's fine. Move on to the next one. So let's move this bottom panel and snap it. Grab it, snap it into place, snap this one to that one. So they all just snap and fit nicely. Grab this one, grab the one you want, where you want to go to. In this case, because there's so many cutouts, I'm going to go with the, let's go with that one. And once again, I'm going to add an extra row of detail here, or I can just snap this one to the front, whichever way we want it. That's really ugly. Let's carry on snapping. I'm going to snap that one to there, that one to there. That's fine. Actually, let's go to the top one. And snap it to the top one. And now that seemed to be snapping and looking decent, let's go do the rest of them. Without actually, we don't need to snap the rest. We just need to move them into place. There we go. Move this one back. This one can go there. You can't always snap to verts, like in this case. Go to the top, you can see that I need to actually snap to an edge. So go to your snap tool, right click on your actual snap tools and go edge segment, turn off vertex. Grab them both, grab the bottom one and snap. It'll snap to the edge. Okay. These snap tools will come in handy, especially if you're doing man-made, well, hard surface modeling and also gaming stuff. Okay, there we go. Let's see what it looks like. I'm going to copy this turbo smooth. So you can right click on the turbo smooth over here and say copy, and you can paste this as an instance. So then if I turn one on, they all go on. If I turn them off, it's a lot easier to turn them all on and off. Then I have to go click, turn off, click, turn off. It's just tedious. As you can see, I don't like what it's doing there. On the top, it's creating a speed bump effect. So let's just quickly fix this. Go into the top view and just try to follow this edge line. You can see that that line will go there. Let's try to keep this clean. Try to follow that one as well. Okay, there we go. It's a lot better. Now let's go and create the top panel, this piece over here. I'm going to create it from this panel, so I'm going to go Control V, call it cap panel. Okay. I'm going to grab these edges on the side here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Go into my left view, hold shift. It really makes no difference where I'm placing them. If I grab this face and hold shift to the next face, it'll select the whole loop. Control I to deselect, and now they perfectly snap to where they should be. And now we're just going to go place them. This one, as you can see, I'm going to snap to there. So we might as well do that right now and save ourselves a little bit of headaches. But I'm going to grab all of them so we can get the curve going right. So I'm going to turn my snap tools on, make sure it snaps to vertex, not edge, like the previous one. And I'm going to snap it. Come on, snap, baby. You can do it. You can do it, Max. Max 2014's got a few bugs, so if you're using 2013, stick with it for now. And then we can snap this one to the back there. So we're going to grab this one and snap it. As you can see, it doesn't really want to. There we go. Snap. And now we've got it running from the front to the back. We just have to add another row of detail and another 2 rows of detail. Let's go to the top view and snap the edge. Actually, let's just move that edge in. That's starting to look a bit weird there. So what I'm gonna do is snap the other one to it. So I'm gonna just bring this edge over, grab this one at the bottom and snap this edge back to it. You will always be shifting things back and forward until you're happy with the shape. Okay. Now I'm gonna go to the top and make this straight. Press 1 on the keyboard brings up vert, 2 brings up edges, 3 brings up open edges, 4 faces. So I'm just going to go to my vert, bring it in, try to straighten that out. There we go. Now I'm going to bring, once again, grab that exact edge we used, go to the front viewport this time, and shift it up. Go to the left viewport because we will have to fix something. Just bring those up. And we're going to snap these to that one, so don't really worry about it because we're just going to grab it and snap it. Same with this one. Once again, we got the same issue. We don't have enough edge detail. We only have edge detail. We don't have vert detail. Right click, switch to edges, grab it and snap to the edge. And then I'm going to just keep these lines going nicely. I'm going to slightly shift this up so they don't all pinch in the front. I'm going to turn the smooth on just so we can see if the curve is looking right. You can see the curve. There's not enough detail at the back to actually cause it, so it's not looking too beautiful. Copy. Paste. Yeah, we need to definitely create that curve. It's nice in the front, but it's kinking in too much at the back. So let's go and actually fix that. I'm going to grab these edges, slightly already bring them back so we can counter that curve. We go to the front and do the same with the front. Slightly just get that shape going. And once again, check every view so you don't make it kink in funny. Okay, once again I'm sitting too long on something. We need to snap this one back. That's one that should have not been moved, but it has. It's because the smoothing is slightly different. Okay, so what we might have to do is adjust one to the other, but for now let's not really stress too much about it. We will adjust the top one and bring the top one in and start slowly snapping it. Okay, now we need to move it in, so we grab those edges again. Make sure you double click, it'll grab the whole edge loop, hold shift, and this time we're going straight to the center. And bring it over there. Let's just kill the smooth, and let's see. Okay, what it looks like it does over here is it slightly goes in and then dents down, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to grab this edges over here, just this one over here, and slightly bring it down. I'm going to put the smooth on again so we can see what it's actually doing. You can see that it needs more detail to make it straight. But for this kind of a thing, I'm not worried too much because this is going to be a panel that goes slightly underneath. Let's see how far in it actually goes. And just keep bringing it down until and slightly lower. I'll show you how to fix that now. Let's just try to get it in to where we think it should be. According to this reference, it should be about over there. We need, as you can see, we need to add more detail there to round this off because it's definitely too flat. So we'll leave ours there, turn off the smooth, and then let's go do that. Let's actually go and alter this a little bit, or snap ours to that one, whichever way we need to do it. Let's go and put the smooth on again and shift ours up accordingly, because it's definitely not round enough. There we go. Double check in every viewport if it looks fine. Slightly raise this one up. There we go. and keep shifting it until it looks a little bit rounder than it previously did. That's why I say hurry up and get the big shapes done, because the tweaking is what actually takes most of the time. Okay, now I'm going to grab that edge and I'm going to go straight down so we can actually have that little bit of a ridge, because what it's creating is it goes down and then straight, so you got that nice little lip. And I'm going to grab all of them, both edge, this side and this one, because we want it to close off. And I'm going to move it straight. In this case I'm going to slightly shift all of this up so we can actually have it looking decent. And now I'm going to hold shift and bring it down to this next one, rotate it, trying to follow that curve, and now we need to bring it straight to the bottom. In this case I might actually snap it because it looks like it's almost becomes flush at the tip, and if it doesn't we can always adjust it back accordingly. I'm going to snap these again, so I'm going to just shift them over so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to grab those corner ones, I'm going to snap it to that corner. Make sure vertex is selected and grab, let's say, that one. Sorry, let's move. There we go, and we must also not forget to snap that one, but for now let's just leave that middle. Let's actually go and adjust this one, and I'm going to snap this one to there, and I'm going to snap this one to edge because there's nothing else to snap it to, so I'm going to go right click, say make it edge, and I'm going to snap it to that edge. And this one I'm going to just move in because we actually needed to have some sort of thickness even though it becomes flush. I'm going to grab this edge again and just move it forward, and now I've created a separate face that's open. These points over here need to become one. You can weld them, or you can grab this one and say I want to target weld. You say I want you to go there, so you select the child and you say go to your parent, and then I'm going to snap this one to there. Right click, make sure vertex is on. Always just switch because you might be on the wrong vertex or edge mode or whatever it initially decides to set up on. Let's test it out and see what it looks like, and let's turn the smooth on. Okay, not too bad. We just have to tweak some of the issues over there, but otherwise it's coming along. We just need to add, once again, more detail there. It's rounding off. Now the rounding off is actually becoming an issue. So I'm going to go click there and say ring, and I'm going to add one row of detail over there on the opposite end, right up there. It doesn't have to be too close, as long as it just hardens it off a little bit. And as you can see, we need to round this off again. Once again, more detail comes refining and pushing back and pushing forward. So let's just keep doing that. This looks, and the problem is the moment you smoothen something, you have to also counter everybody else's smooth. You might snap it, but you still have to go and say that smooth is working fine there, but not there, because it's trying to smoothen the whole head, and we're just trying to smoothen a small piece. Okay, let's leave that for now. That's fine. Really. Let's just add maybe some detail around here. Ring. I'm going to connect twice, so we can have one row on the top and one row on the bottom. I'm going to fix the roundness later, but for now it is perfectly fine. I think that's too harsh, but let's leave it. Let me just shift this up so it doesn't pinch so much towards there. The closer two lines, as I'm sure you've already noticed while modeling, the closer two lines get together, the more it pinches and the more detail you get around the edge. In this case, I don't want that, especially not on the big surfaces. I want it to be slightly round, so that's why I'm trying to shape these a little bit better. But let's not get picky. There we go. Let's go and create this proper earpiece. So I'm going to invert everything else and use my guide. In order to create this, I'm going to create a little tracing tool for that shape to cut it out. I'm going to keep this mesh as dense as it is. First, I'm going to go to my create rectangle. I'm not going to try to rotate it into place. I'm just going to say it looks about right over there. Round the corners. Give it a bit more width so I can actually place it. Let's say, no, it needs to be rounded off a little bit more. And I'm going to place it in the middle of this object. So that seems fine. Okay, now I'm going to use this as a guide. I'm going to literally cut it out. So I'm going to move this to the topmost of this face, because we're going to literally cut it out. There we go. At the moment, you can't use this mesh as it is. If I smoothen it, it'll break because none of these points over here are connected. The moment I connect, that starts becoming a workable mesh. Until then, it's just a broken mesh. So what you have to do to make this work is go connect. You have to connect all these lines across. Once again, you can do 1/2 and then mirror it. Which may, actually, let's just do that. We'll create 1/2. So let's make sure we're creating quads. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just always make sure. At the moment, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not right. I'm going to grab them horizontally and connect once. So the moment I connect these two, it'll be a quad. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So they are now all 4. Now we just have to delete the bottom half and add a symmetry. So drop down list, type in SYM. By default, it will symmetry around the X. Just click on the Y and it'll symmetry around the Y. Okay, now all we have to do is work in 1/2. We need to add in, this one is too high poly, this it's too detailed. Let's go and turn the interpolation down to about 1. Convert it to a spline. I don't like that there's 2 rows of this in the middle. Let's just weld those, because I need to snap these, and the less I have to work with, the better, because it'll just be a lot neater. Okay, now we have to add in the 1 point. You can see I can snap that point to there and that one to there, but we need 1 row of detail just to add there. So we can decide either horizontally, vertically. It makes no difference. I'm going to say let's do it this way. Ring, connect, and there we go. By adding this detail, we are already breaking the roundness of this object. I know that sounds weird. We just have to keep that in mind, that it doesn't break. Okay, we have no back faces, which is good. And now I'm going to start snapping. So I'm going to go, okay, I want you to snap to that one. So turn on your snap tools, make sure vertex is on, and say snap there, and snap there. The rest are not really important. And go to your left view. And now you're getting that shape. If I do the symmetry, you can see the shape's already cut out of there. We just need to make sure that this line comes down and goes straight, because that's how it cuts through. So we're going to go and straighten this out. Straighten it out. Just make sure this line is running through straight. If you need to be accurate, grab it, scale it down flat. And this one can go slightly. Let's scale that one down. There we go. As you can see, this is gonna smooth and funny. It's gonna go there, kink down, kink out. Just make sure it's always round, because you will see the funny kinks and it will stick out like a sore thumb. Now I'm happy with it. I'll say okay, except for it's not doing a smooth in the middle. You'll notice if you do a symmetry and the middle's a little bit broken, just grab all the verts down the middle, in this case down there, and just slightly shift it over until it fixes, and then convert to a poly, and now it's one mesh again. Now in order to create that shape, we can extrude all the way around. So we're going to grab it, grab. Just grab all the faces that are going to go in. As you can see, we got that little shape already. Let's just extrude, literally move it inwards, say by local normal. What group does is it moves it out, as you can see, a little bit broken. You want to move it properly by local normal, so it'll move in and out from there. Is that too much? Let's just move it a little bit inner. There we go. I'm going to get rid of these faces we don't need in the back end. There we go. I'm going to delete my tracing guideline. Let's see what this looks like with a smooth. And it's too smooth. You can already tell that I need to add more detail there just to make it crisp. And that's actually pretty simple. Click on there and go ring. The key to making it sharp is adding a row of detail to either of these, to right next to both of these lines. So go ring, connect twice, and use the middle slider to shift it along and connect there. And now you'll notice it's got a nice little bit of detail there. There. And it will be, the final smooth result will be that. So that's actually not too bad. The only problem with this one right now is that that one's got a crisp beveled edge there and on the outside. Mine is nice and beautifully round, which we can't have. We need to make sure that both of those edges are chamfered. So double click this line, we'll grab a loop, double click that line. The problem with this loop is it does not continue all the way through. What I mean is that it breaks literally where this is not connected in straight top to bottom. So the only way to fix that is just, instead of chamfering, go and say ring, I'll add 2 rows of detail to either side. It's a lot easier than going and selecting every single edge. And now check if it looks fine. Not too bad. It might be a little bit more sharp there, so what we can do is just once again add another row of detail. Go and grab this inside one, go and grab that inside one, click ring, connect once. You can connect twice really, but that's, I think, might be going a bit overkill. So just add one. There we go. And the ear is done. I might have not extruded it enough, but that's, you can go and once again add extrude it again. But for this thing it's fine. We'll call it R_ear. Because I modeled it, I think, if I was smart at the time, to the middle, I can mirror this. If I duplicate this and say create an instance and I call it L_ear, and I decide to mirror this. The mirror tool is the broken M on the top here. It'll mirror around the pivot of that object, which is not bad, but you want to mirror around the world 0. So you go to your hierarchy tab, you go and say use working pivot. You automatically notice it switches to the world 0, and then you can use your mirror tool, turn it off, and it's placed it where it should be. And now we can get rid of this little guide because we don't need that anymore. Actually, I'm still going to use it to create the bat panel, so everything else seems fine so far, except I don't like the funny pinching going on there, but we'll tackle that later. Let's go and create this back panel. We're going to start off from this panel, so I'm going to go Control I to invert selection, hide, right click and hide selection. I'm going to turn off my grid because it's really getting aggravating. In order to create that, once again, grab that, and let's just duplicate this before we actually adjust the original. Call it neck panel 1, because there's going to be 2 of them, so we might as well name it already. Grab this part over there, go and just grab the inside one there, and left press W for move and shift, and then you've got the extra panels. Control I, invert selection, delete. Okay, there we go. Now we just need to well, in this case, shape it. Let me bring back my guideline. Hide unselected, thank you. Because we need to snap our stuff back to this one because ours is breaking. So we're going to snap this end to the most extreme part of there, and that one's already snapped there. So we know those work. We just need to make sure ours snap to the bottom, and then we'll add a row of detail down the middle, just to make sure it actually snaps properly. Just make sure everything looks decent. Go to the left view. I need my actual reference. Now you can see the shape is not quite there. So let's just shift that up a little bit. What we might do in this case is I'm going to shift it, because we know it snaps perfectly, I'm going to shift it a little bit, the shape bigger than it should be. And then add a row of detail down the middle. And go and ring and say connect. In this case I'm going to connect 2, so I can have that detail there and I can have that detail. So ring and connect 2. 1, 2. This one I'm going to snap to there, this one I'm going to snap to that edge. But for now, let's just get this curve going going right. And the same over there. Just keep this curve going all the way through. Let's snap this one. And then snap this one to edge. So I'm going to right click it and say make it edge snap. And I'm going to try to find somewhere in the middle will be fine. That will be fine. Let's go to the left view and see if it is. And then we can delete everything else we don't need. Sorry, that was a mistake. And now I'm going to delete the bottom half. Grab this one, there, and delete. And now we have to shape this bottom curve. But now at least we know that snaps to there. We just have to create that curve going all the way through. and all the way through to there. Another issue we have to have is make sure that this top piece fits inside so it's not flush. So grab all these top edges, slightly shift it inwards, first slightly. Same goes with this top one, slightly shift it in. Okay, and that's one panel. Control V to duplicate it, panel 2. And in this case, double click the edge, will grab the whole loop. Hold shift on the next panel, it'll select the whole loop again. And now we need to snap it to there. Actually, it's already snapped there. We need to snap this one to there and create an extra face. Actually, quite a few extra faces, but let's start with the extremes. I'm going to snap this one to the bottom, and that one's already snapped where I want it to be. So let's go and snap this one straight to, sorry, it's on edge snap. And because I want to keep this edge loop going, what that means is keep it round. I'm going to bring this to the bottom there. So I'm going to snap this one to the bottom there. So we can keep this going. Let's go, keep it all going. I'm going to make sure the smooth is on so I can actually see if it's smoothing properly. And once again, because this panel sits underneath the other one, slightly shift it inwards. And once again, slightly shift it inwards. As you can see, we need more detail there just to get that crisp edge going. And we also need more detail there to get that curve going. So let's start with a big curve. So we're going to go, we need to add 2 rows of detail to connect this curve properly. So we're going to go connect, ring once, ring, and connect twice, which it's done. First, I'm going to worry about the back curve because that's actually the easy part. So let's go and do that. And get this curve flowing nicely through. Maybe not too much. Same as that one, not too drastic. And now we're going to snap these. But first, I need to move this slightly back and then snap those. Otherwise, they're going to be overlapping over each other, and you don't want that. Snap, snap. Okay, it's sitting. Let's just make sure it's sitting inside slightly. Okay, there we go. Easiest way to add detail this way onto this corner is to actually double click this edge and just go chamfer, and you've got corner detail. But the key here is you must also go and chamfer, follow this line through. That's why you copy the mesh, so you can actually have the edge detail following decently through, all the way through. There we go. Now we can delete this guide. And once again, we need to follow this edge detail through, which we won't do for now, just in case we need to. We're going to create the top and follow through the top panel. Okay, but there we go. But for now, let's get rid of all the extra detail because we still need to do cutouts, and the more cutouts we add, the harder our life will be. So let's leave it as simple as possible for now. Always remember, this mask is going to have a lot of screws and everything cutting out of it, and the more detail you add now, the harder it is going to be to tweak at the end. Okay. Now all I'm going to do is just slightly fix, like I want this panel to be, maybe this panel could be one with that panel, who knows. But for now I need to make sure that all these edges are following properly, like that is actually a straight edge. The rest of it actually seems pretty decent. That needs to be straight. So let's start off with this panel over here. Control I, hide selection. And let's go to the left view and let's fix this panel. First we need to add detail there. So let's do that. Once again, the easiest way to do that is to actually chamfer this edge. So double click on that. But you need to tweak it. So I'm going to leave the smooth on so you can see what it does. So yeah, you get in the corner nicely. Only problem is that harsh line will follow through all the way. As you can see, when the light hits it, it's pinching in the corner, doing some weird stuff. Go and tweak that. Actually go and take that line and slightly, in this case, shift it forward. You can see it shouldn't be kinking in like that. Bring it forward, bring it along, just until that pinching subsides just a little bit. Because you can't get rid of that pinching entirely. I want to move between these two edges. there's an edit, repeat last, so you go an edge and you just slightly, what it'll do is move between perfectly between those two edges. I mean those 2 points. So I'm going to shift it so it's not so pinched and horrible. And the same thing over here. Because all I want is hard is that corner, so I don't need everything else to be so harsh. Just grab the long thing. There we go. I'm getting I can see I'm trying triangles causing issues here. Let's just fix that triangle problem now. So I'm going to target weld that one to that one, so it'll be a quad. Just target weld it. There we go. It's getting better. You can see it's still a little bit harsh over there. I'm going to have to go and smoothen that off quite a bit. So I'm going to go into my top view, grab my verts over here, make sure my eye is still the same shape because I've been shifting a lot of things back and forward. I'm going to slowly round this off, even if it's not realistic to the design. It's just to give it the illusion that it's not pinching so horribly. There we go. Just start rounding it all off a little bit. Just slightly. Same with the next one, just slightly round it off. And the same with the eye. Just soften everything out a little bit. And now I'm sure something's broken in the front viewport, and it has, because it needs to come in further in, and this needs to go out. Always double check that everything is going the way you want it to. And the more detail, you'll have to go and shift everything back into place. So that will be there, there. Just trying to get it as close as possible to that lower left. Go to the left viewport, and I moved it too far down. And this is not pinching enough to create that corner, so just bring it close to the corner. Bring it over. And as you can see, this curve is a lot better on theirs, so we're going to grab this one, slightly shift it forward, and the middle, slightly shift it forward, so we can just get that curve going in, and the same at the bottom. And that will be enough for that one, and then we just keep on tweaking. And now I'm going to tweak these two over here. What I can do is make this one panel if I really want. But because I want this to have some thickness, I don't actually want it to be one panel. So what I'm going to do now is slightly bring this down. All of it slightly inwards. So it just sits below that panel. The same with that. This one is going to a wall there. Sometimes, in this case, I don't know what that thing's doing, so I'm going to go into my 3D viewport and figure it out. There we go. I just wanted to have some little bit of depth. Okay. Now it's easy enough to make that flat on that one. You go and say, for example, ring, and I'm going to add a row of details close to the bottom and just slide it, just one row of detail, not two, one, as close as you can, and you can see it's already getting the desired result, the bottom one versus the top one. So we're going to do the same thing on the top one, ring, but the problem here is that we don't want it to be that. We're going to add a row of detail, but not straight to the corners off the bat. We're going to leave it there. I'm going to shift all of this because you can see it's already starting to change the shape drastically. I'm just going to start shaping it a bit round, and then I'll bring this one straight to the corner. And that's what I'm going to do now. And then we can adjust the shape. It's already starting to get a funky little look going there. Now we might have to add another row of detail over here just to avoid the pinching to be so much. So go connect one more time. It's helping along. We might have to bring that edge back up. So let's go to the left viewport first of all, because I'm sure this is flattening out again, and it is. We just have to counter the detail. The more detail you add, the flatter it's going to be, especially if that's what the detail you're adding is. I mean, if I add a lot of detail in there, it's going to make that perfectly flat instead of rounding it. So let's just round that off. I'm going to shift these up a little bit to that just to that corner and see if we can fix that issue over there, or if it's going to make it worse. Now I'm going to smoothen it twice. Let's see, it's causing a funny little ugly crease, so it's probably better the way it was before. Yeah, but not by much. Okay, this is not helping. Let's bring it this way. One of them will help, I'm sure. Connect. I'm going to add that detail straight as is. Make sure that it curves on the top again, because you don't want it to be perfectly flat. Just make sure it's not curving too much. Slightly further out. And now I'm going to move this to there. Just that one point straight to that end. That's better. It's causing less of a weird pinch. Okay, there we go. As you can see, it's still causing a funny pinch, but unfortunately the only way to fix it is to really go and move these around. Let's say move that one over there and say let's move them all slightly over, so it causes less of a ridge. So we're going to move that over. Now we have to double check if nothing is dying in the process. Okay, and that's, I think, will be enough for today. Okay, and if you're doing armor pieces and you want some thickness, just go to your bottom, let's say where your symmetry is, turn off your turbo smooth, drop down and type in shell, S-E-H-E-L, and it'll give you a choice to add thickness outwards or inwards. In this case you want to go inwards. And then you can also do a symmetry and add also, so you can see it just gave your panel some thickness. So please don't worry about the thickness, that's actually the easy part. Okay. Just worry about the big shapes, and then worry about, like at the moment I'm not going to cut out holes yet because that's just insane right now. Let's try to get the shapes